just work tutoring.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video. If you're new, my name is Joanna Wilson. I am currently in Turkey, which we'll be talking more about tomorrow. But for today's video, I'm just sat on my balcony having a little chit chat with you guys. I put an Instagram story earlier today about doing a question and answer about my Cambridge University experience. So for those people who don't know, I studied biological and natural sciences at Cambridge University, and basically I'm going to be answering everybody's questions with regards what it was like, how was the studying, the application process, getting in, all that stuff. Without further ado, it feels a bit weird doing a video on my own and just sitting talking to you guys, but I like it, and I think I'm going to try and do one of these every day whilst I'm out here. So I'm out here for another 4 days, so I shall chat to the camera every day, I think. Lots and lots of different things that people want to see, so that's cool. Cambridge is today's topic though. So first question is, why did you want to go to Cambridge University? I think this is really quite an interesting one, because I actually didn't think I wanted to go to Cambridge or know that I wanted to go to Cambridge. The thing that I knew first is I was probably, like, my grades were probably good enough to get in, and my teachers very much were like, you should probably think about applying to Oxbridge. It's funny because all my other 4 university options, you obviously apply for 5 different universities. All my other 4 options were completely not like Cambridge. What you find is when people apply to Oxbridge, they want to go to that type of university, so they might apply also for York and Durham and Warwick and things like that. I was the complete opposite. I applied for Cambridge, and then my other 4 university choices were Manchester, Newcastle, Liverpool and Birmingham. So 4 massive cities, massive pie cities, complete opposite end of the spectrum to the Cambridge University experience. So I didn't know that I actually wanted to go there. I then got an interview and then thought, oh yeah, I should probably go to my interview. Then when I went down for my interview, that was when I fell in love with the place. I thought it was really cool. The sort of questions that I was asked at my interview, and then getting the offer, that was when I think it solidified that I knew that I wanted to go, and therefore I just had to get the grades. Speaking of which, the next question is, what grades did you have to get into Cambridge? So you apply, you then do a supplementary questionnaire, which is a little bit on top of your UCAS, and then you get an interview. So you go down to the college that you applied for, or a college that is interested in you if you do an open application, and you do 2 interviews, and then that's before Christmas, and then after Christmas the offers come out. I got my offer in January. It actually wasn't from the college that I applied for, so people who, the application process is very, very quite long and complex. I can maybe do a bit more of an in-depth video on this if people would be interested, but basically it works really well in that if you are good enough to get into the university, you will get offered a place. I got put into what is called the winter pool by Christ's College, which is the one that I applied to, and Homerton, which is my college. See Sammy in the background. It's okay though, yeah. I can't see you now. Please just don't get naked though. So yeah, I got put into the winter pool, and my college that I went to, Homerton, picked me out and offered me a place. And with the offer, all the offers at Cambridge are conditional. The grades that I needed to get to do my course were A star, A star, A, and at least one of the A levels that you're doing has to be, it might have to be 2 actually. Might be 1 science and maths, or 2 sciences, but yeah, 2 A stars and an A is the entrance, and I got 3 A stars in my A levels, so I managed to get into my college and my place. So yeah, that's a little bit about pre and going down and entry requirements. Next question, okay, was it a challenge when you moved away from home for the first time? You know what, I'd been away from home quite a little bit. I'd spent quite a lot of my summer between A levels away from home, and I knew that I'm not really that homesick. I say more that I get family sick. I miss my family more than I miss being at home, and I absolutely loved being in Cambridge. I didn't really struggle that much moving away from home. The first term though, is so intense that I was a broken woman at the end of it. It does require some getting used to the level of work, the amount of work, the cycling everywhere, the contact hours, contact time, socialising, doing sport. It takes a lot to get used to. So at the end of that first term, I was like, oh my God, I wanted to come home. And then I think there was one other term, maybe in second year, where I didn't want to go back. But apart from that, I was generally fine with moving away from home. I think my mum and dad, particularly my dad, struggled more with me moving away than I struggled with moving away myself. So yeah, moving away from home was actually quite fine. And it is quite funny that I was so easy and ready to move away from home, because when I was a kid, I was the complete opposite. I wouldn't even sleep out at my friend's house because I did not want to be at home. But yeah, I was ready to flee the nest when the time came. Cool. What was your major / programme of study? So for natural sciences, it's a little bit like A-levels. In first year, you do 4 subjects, and then in second year, you do 3 subjects, and then you specialise in 1 subject in your third year, and that's what you do your project or your dissertation on. And then within that last subject, in fourth year, there's 4 different modules. So I did in first year biology of cells, mathematical biology, chemistry I still did in first year, which I very quickly dropped afterwards, and physiology. And then in second year, I did physiology, psychology and pathology. And then in third year, I specialised in PDN, which is physiology, neuroscience and development. But I was mainly passionate about the physiology side of the course and the topic. So that was what I specialised in. And I did my project in third year, so my dissertation, on exercise physiology, so about maximal fat oxidation and whether burning more carbohydrates or fats when doing an exercise program helps upregulate the machinery that we use to burn fat. So yeah, that was really interesting. And again, maybe if people are interested in that, I could do another video on it. I'd have to sit and go through my project for quite some time to be able to remember exactly what I did and what I found. I didn't find much, to be honest. But yeah, that was really cool in third year to be able to design your own experiment and carry it out, and then write 8,500 words on it. So yeah, that's cool. Really awesome question. Did you feel like you had support other than just curricular work? So a really interesting transition, I think, for anybody going to an Oxbridge university, because you very, very quickly become a small fish in a massive pond. I think everybody who goes there is very much used to always getting top grades, being the top of the class, being able to get 100% in things. But when you're doing your GCSEs and A-levels, very quickly picking things up, understanding things really well. And when you get to Cambridge, everybody is like that. You are in a university of 12,000 of the best in the class people, and it can be daunting. I once listened to a podcast actually with Jimmy Carr, who went to Cambridge himself, and he said that he thought that imposter syndrome was made and created in Cambridge, and I actually smiled when I found that, because as well as it being full of people who are absolutely incredible at what they do and in their field, it's also full of people who believe they're probably not good enough to be there. You very quickly have to adapt to new styles of learning, to understanding that you're not going to get everything right, that a pass is 40% and you know what, a really, really good mark is 60%. And as somebody that's been used to for the last 5 years of their life, getting 90 to 100% in things, that's a big transition. It's like a bubble when you're there, and it's hard to explain it if you've not experienced it and you're not in it. But I honestly think, back to the question, because I've not even really answered it, the biggest support network when you are at university in Cambridge is the other people that are there with you, the people on your course around you, the people that live in your college, people in the years above, people on sports teams. You do things called supervisions at Cambridge, which are basically seminars or lessons, but more intense. So your supervisors are the people who set your work every week, and quite a lot of, pretty much all supervisors are ex-students or PhD students. So they're a really, really great support network, but you're surrounded by a lot of people who empathise 1,000,000% with you because they've been through it themselves. And I think that's the biggest support network that you could ever get in that situation, is people who know exactly what you're going through, and it's hard to come home and explain what it's like to friends and family and to get them to empathise with it unless they've experienced it themselves. And I mean, my family were unbelievable at supporting me and interested in absolutely everything I do and everything I've achieved. But to be surrounded by people who know exactly what it's like, I think is probably the biggest support network that you can get there. Where do you think you would have gone if you hadn't have gone to Cambridge? Like I said, all my other 4 university applications were massive, big party cities, awesome places. My insurance choice was actually Manchester, so a lot closer to home. I still think I'd have moved out, but yeah, I don't know what I'd have been doing now if I'd have gone to Manchester rather than to Cambridge. But that is by the by, because I didn't. Do you think the experience and education provided justifies the price of university? And this is a really, really good question. I obviously am in a situation which is not unique in that I now use 0 of my degree in what I'm doing in day-to-day life. I'm literally not using like the physical things that I learn at uni. I'm not using whatsoever. However, I think like the one thing that Cambridge taught me more than anything was how to work. Like if you're surrounded by unbelievable people, you're in an unbelievable place and you're working unbelievably hard, and I think I've managed to carry that. I'm working to get my grades to get in, and then working whilst I was there, I've now carried that into later life, and I will work anyone in a room under a table because of the experience that I had in that situation. So that's massively. In terms of money, it's an interesting debate because we obviously have systems in place in the UK in England, where we only pay back our university fees based on what we earn. After a certain amount of time, it gets written off. So most people never actually pay back their full student loan. And I think it's justified. I think the universities are massively, massively wealthy organisations, but there's a lot that goes into a degree and people's wages and people's work, but then also the fact that the government are pretty much funding a lot of it because you don't end up paying it all back. I think, it is pretty justified. Expectations versus reality for Cambridge. The one big one that springs to mind with that in terms of a contrast is the type of people. I think you expect a certain type of person to go to Cambridge University. You expect everybody to be perfect, everybody to have gone to private school, to be well-spoken, to be not big rough Jay from Leeds who's seshes and goes crazy on a weekend. And that was definitely my expectation. My reality was the people are some of the best people that I've ever met in my life, from all walks of life. You get a lot of people from private school or from boarding schools and things like that, but you also get a lot of people who are northern, who are just like you. Everybody loves to party, everybody's so welcoming. And I think, like I was saying before about the empathy that the students have there, everyone's in this big bubble, and no matter whether you've got Aaron who lives in Bangkok and has been educated in an English school versus James who's gone to an all-boys boarding school all his life versus Joanna who is from Leeds and went to state school, everybody has this united thing tying them together, and it's hard work and the degree and empathy for that. So I think the biggest sort of expectation versus reality for me was the people. The one where expectation reality was pretty similar is going to Hogwarts, the balls, the formal halls, the gowns, the culture, the prestige. It's still very, very, very prestigious place that has been around obviously for centuries and centuries, and they still hold a lot of that tradition and culture, which I think is really nice because it makes it special. Right, just a couple more questions. Did you ever study abroad? No, I did not. Knowing what you know now, would you still go to Cambridge and do the same subject? Flipping incredible question. Yes, I absolutely would. I wouldn't change it in a heartbeat. I absolutely love my experience there. I worked so hard. My subject was amazingly interesting and I wouldn't change anything. The only thing I'd change is I get a first and not a 2-1. But another thing that I say is that if everybody who goes to Cambridge got graded on how hard they work rather than what they got in their exams, then everybody would get a first because everybody works super duper hard. The last thing is just the last question I'm going to answer is just a little bit about exams. So like, how were you examined when you went to Cambridge? Interestingly, at Cambridge, first and second year don't count towards your final degree. It's all on third year. And like I said, in third year, when you specialise, you do 4 modules and you do an exam in each module. So I did an exam in each module, which added up to 60% of my degree, which is 15% each. And then my extended project was 40%. It might have been 16% per exam and 36% for the project. Something along those lines, around the 60-40 mark. And in every single one of my exams, I had to write 3 essays. So my whole degree was 12 essays and my project, which is brilliant for people who are absolutely incredible at writing scientific essays, which unfortunately I was not. I had to work really, really hard to learn how to write an essay properly, but I was much, much better at practical and math side of things. So my essay writing did let me down. I got 67. I got 70 in my project, and I got a mixture of different grades in my exams. I think I got 63, a 64, a 67, and a 68 in my 4 exams. So it's averaged out at a 67, and you needed 70 for a first. So I was very, very close, but it completely all rides on that third year. And I say I would have got first. I honestly worked as hard as I possibly could. I left everything out there. I left everything in my exams. I couldn't have done any more. And I'm really proud of everything that I've achieved during my degree and since my degree. So yeah, so those are all the questions. I hope that has been insightful and useful for people. I'm sure there are way more questions that I could answer about Cambridge and about my experience there. So if people would like me to continue chatting about this as a topic, definitely let me know. Like I said, I'm going to try and do at least one sit down video a day whilst we're out here in Turkey. But yeah, thank you for watching. We're still on the daily upload grind and I'm absolutely flipping loving it. We've still got 20% off all the products until the end of June. Everybody's getting close. The end is in sight for those end of exams. So I hope everyone's doing really well. Please let me know if you are doing your exams, how they're all going in the comments, how you're feeling about everything. And we'll see you in the next video, guys. I love you so much and I appreciate you. Keep smashing it and remember, anything is possible. You just work. Bye.